Hello, fellow followers, and welcome back to the Physical Media Show. Tonight is just me and Tom. So,
Yes.
how's it been?
It's been a couple hours since we've talked, but
Yeah, I mean
other than
it's
that,
it's been a
not much
few,
has changed.
not much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Say hello to the chat out here. It's been popping off while we've been back there. Looks like we got Tim Hayes, Hell Tim Hayes.
Hey.
We got Random Brad Creator. Always glad to see you here. And I did pop up Tim Hayes. There's Tim Hayes. There you are. And we got Cosmic Squirrel. Hell Cosmic Squirrel. We got Heather Preston. Hi, Heather Preston. Let's see. I know I saw a couple other ones. Seika. I don't never sure how to pronounce your name, but morning to you. I know it's morning where you live right now. Brian Barth, hail and welcome as always. And Dalton B says, "Sweet, I'm here before it starts. Cheers, everyone. Welcome, Dalton. Glad to have you here." Um, I think that's. Oh no, we got some over here I didn't see at first. Stephen Luther, what up? And Tyrell72, how you doing? Yes, what another great physical media discussion for you guys tonight. VHS Mikey, check out our interview we just did. I love VHS Mikey, great guy. Hell, hey Medium fam. And Deleted Scene Stevens, what's up? How nice to see you here. And hail to everybody watching. Glad you guys are here tonight with us, and I hope you guys have a good show, a good time watching us have a good show. So, Tom, is there anything you want to talk about before we get into everything?
I mean, as far as like the releases and stuff like that, I think we got mostly into that earlier. So, and you have your own video for it, but we hadn't really gotten anything new that was anything to really get too excited about outside of maybe Amityville, I guess. But
well, one I didn't put in my video that we found out afterwards was Sidekicks on 4K.
Yes, that was another one. Yeah.
So that's one I'm actually super excited about. And like you said, it bears no resemblance whatsoever to the Karate Kid.
None
whatsoever.
Not the same movie.
Not even the same. And welcome, Dan Blackroyd. And no one welcome. Yeah, I've always enjoyed that movie because yes, we talk about the Karate Kid a lot on here in Cobra Kai. We're your fans. And that was just one of them, along with the Three Ninjas. I don't know if that was before or after your time, but like Sidekicks, I always felt was like
in that same area.
I thought
the first one I remember.
Yeah, I always thought the Sidekicks was the best Karate Kid knockoff, followed by Three Ninjas down the line, but it was not the best. But it was
Three Ninjas was kind of like Karate Kid meets Ninja Turtles, but yeah.
Yes. But I'm excited about Sidekicks on 4K. I never thought that would be a 4K title, to be honest.
Not exactly. It hasn't really gotten much love on home video in general, but
yeah. So that's that was really about it. Nothing else other than if you want the Sony Classic set.
Yeah, some interesting titles in there. I've seen some people are rightfully upset that this $300 box set is probably the only way they're going to be able to see get some of these 4Ks, but we'll see. I have a feeling they'll release them down the road like they did for the Classic set, but we'll have to wait and see. But 300 is a bit pricey.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's even more than the
Classics. Yeah.
Yeah, the Paramount or what is? Not Paramount. So I can't think of
Columbia
the name.
Classics.
Yeah, Columbia.
Which it's kind of like the same vein. I think there's a couple more movies in the set is all, but I imagine the price is going to come down a little bit before it actually comes out. So we'll see. Because usually the Columbia Classic sets start around $199 when they first drop, and then by the time they actually come out, they're around $100, $120.
Yeah. It usually does go down. So
I think it's already come down to $106 for the newest one coming out. So.
Well, I mean, it had some decent titles in it, and like you guys we talked earlier, I think some of them have been released already. So
I know at least Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon has. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's really about it. There wasn't too much. I mean, there was a lot of titles announced, but nothing.
Well, there was the whole Vestron situation.
Oh yeah, where we talked.
Well, the Silent Night, Deadly Night 345. If that's a true leak, that's kind of exciting, but not really.
The Dentist was all right.
The Dentist. I'm trying to remember if I ever seen that one or
It
not.
was Corbin Burnson as basically a
Yeah,
slasher
okay.
dentist.
I think I kind of remember the first one anyway.
Yeah,
So
but that would be, I mean, yes, the Silent Night Deadly Nights would be interesting, and I was
I
never
mean,
a
I'm not
huge
a
fan of them, but
yeah. After the first two, I think 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and so on were not very good. But
yeah,
it's been a long time since I've seen them too. But it's
it's been
nice
a
to at
while.
least have them out there for the fans and whatnot. So
Yes, yeah. So that's a bit of a rumor there, guys. Might get Silent Night 3, 4, and 5, and the Dentist 1 and 2 from Bestron. So we'll see how that plays out.
which one
What's
was the one with Mickey Rooney in it?
I think that's the last one, the fifth one, right? Mickey
I think
Rooney and
so. The Toy Maker one or whatever it is.
yeah, is what's his name in it too? I think Ron Howard's brother.
It might. Yeah, I think he is.
I,
Um, Clint Howard.
Clint Howard. Yes, I can't believe his name escaped me.
But yeah, because what's funny about that is Mickey Rooney was one of the people who came out and attacked the original,
Yeah,
and then the whatever movie it was, the fourth or the fifth one that he's in, it was never meant to be a Silent Night Deadly Night movie to begin with.
yeah.
It just got turned into one, but unironically, then it made his whole crusade against the original
Yeah.
a bit hypocritical. So yeah.
It is, and I bet he probably did not even know that till after it was released.
Well, I'm sure even if he did find out.
Yeah. uh,
Yeah.
does anybody know who owns the rights to the 1983 Bad Boys film? I have the OP Blu-ray. I hope it gets. I don't know. I don't know. 4K. I don't
Not
think I've
sure.
seen that
Depends on
one.
who released the original one that you have now. The chances are it's the same people.
Yeah. Um. Yes, Nerd Poil. Life Form. The second was basically just retelling of the original for the first half of the
Yes.
movie, and then it gets into the
Garbage
day. I need to put that on the thing where the videos where you can
Yeah.
see it. But yeah, I think that's really about it. There was like I said, it was a bunch of like little things here and there, but nothing huge. So
Yeah. We're going to be getting some releases though here soon, so
yeah.
it'll be interesting. I got a few new ones this week. I hadn't had a chance to really break into, like 310 to Yuma and a few others, but we'll have to see what we did get into.
That's true. That's true. Runner had his Best Buy. Hi, everyone.
Yeah,
Fuck his Best
probably.
Buy. So yes.
Yes,
But
indeed.
yeah, yes, indeed. Nothing. Nothing else. I don't think so. That's about it. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go first, or unless you can think of something else before we get into it?
Um, no, I think we covered pretty much everything, but just since he's not here.
Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy.
Genius. That is just
to-
genius at work right there.
Just to get it out of the way now.
Just get it out because that might be the last time you guys hear tonight because Runner is not here. So
Yeah, he had to run off on us.
yeah. All righty, Tom.
You
I guess
want me to take the lead? All right.
yeah, we'll see what you got first, right off the bat.
First I got an awesome Jaws shirt.
Yes.
And I found out today at the Chinese restaurant that they mixed Chinese and Japanese together on this shirt, which is hilarious. And it's not even says anything like this is like wood. This is something else, and like yeah, and then I'm like, well, what does this say? And the lady's like, oh, that's Japanese. I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah. Anyway, this one came out a while ago, and I finally got a chance to sit down and check it out. I did not get a chance to go through any of the special features, though. But, of course, I got the awesome Steelbook, which has a nice shiny finish to it.
It looks
Of course,
good.
it has a poster with it, and the Blu-ray, and the 4K. So there you go. And yeah, I mean, the movie itself I haven't seen in God.
Yeah, same here. I've
30
not seen
years,
it in a long
probably.
time.
So, and then the back is bad guys. There you go. No,
Slick
it's
little steelbook.
it actually holds up a lot better than I thought it would. The dialogue's a bit hokey. And yeah, Brigitte can't really act very well. And
No.
You're constantly asking, "Where's Arnie?" I noticed it's like he's like disappears for time from time to time, and then he just pops in when he's needed.
He's,
But
you'll
no,
just call me whenever you need me. That's a bad impression. Go on.
the budget does not accept me to be in here all the time. But no, it's fun. Looks pretty good for the 4K scan.
Yeah,
I don't know if you picked it up or not.
No, I have not yet. I haven't seen it in such a long time. And like we brought up earlier, it's funny that got to the 4K before Conan did. But
yeah, because this one's been under a bit more funkier rights for my recollection of why it never even got a proper Blu-ray release. But yeah.
But it's been so long. I can't. I'm trying to think about it because I remember Arnold. Like on the side of
I'm not Conan, I'm Caliban.
Yeah, Conan.
My name is Caliban, I'm not Conan. Although I'm pretty much Conan, I'm not Conan.
Is he supposed to be? He's supposed to be Conan in that, right? But they don't call him Conan.
Well, the thing is, there was a separation in rights, which is weird. But yeah, so yeah, they never really imply that he's playing Conan. But I guess like Andre's always said, well, sometimes Conan would travel under different names. But after watching it this time, I'm not so sure that they're really even trying to imply that he's Conan, because if that's the case, then she's stronger than Conan is.
Nice.
Because they have the scene which is, to me, I thought was one of the more hilarious scenes, where they're basically fighting each other all night. Because if he beats her, then he gets to sleep with her. Right. Because she won't sleep with any man who can't best her in war. And as they're fighting, Ernie Reyes Jr. Notices that she's pulling her punches. So it's like she doesn't even want to win. That's what he says. So he can tell.
Yes. Well, that's
so
funny.
In that way, that was an unwoke way of saying that she was stronger than him.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, but it is a Red Sonja movie, so I guess maybe, as a titular character, she should be the stronger one, I guess.
Yeah, not only that, in the outfit he wears, I would never see Conan wearing that. Especially the pants with the bulgy red thingy over his crotch.
That is my natural size.
I would not be called dead in this.
I'm not Conan.
It does seem to kind of take a place almost in a different era, too, in a way. Almost like... Because for those who don't know, the original Red Sonja is not even in the same era as Conan. That's why they never really met originally. She was actually closer to the 1600s from my recollection. And outside of the gun factor, there's the killing machine in this for one. And then I'm like, how would they even know what a machine is?
Yeah, that's true.
And he's like, I can't kill it. It's a machine. So it's like, yeah, she did call it the killing machine.
Huh? Yeah.
There's some really bad matte work in it, but it's made up for by some of the special effects, especially the metal machine monster near the end. That thing looked pretty good for 1985 and low budget cool. Fantasy. And yeah, decent cast overall. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to in the end.
Is it still available, right? Because I
think so. At least not, if not the Steelbook, the regular version is. I think okay. So.
Yeah, I need to pick that up. I really do. That's been on one of my lists.
I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a U.S. release sooner or later. This is an import version, because I believe the Blu-ray is region locked.
Yeah, I'm not, that happens. But hey, I got the 4K player, so I can watch it on that. But yeah, I've been meaning to get that because, like I said, there's been so many titles that were released that were announced months ago for September and October that I've been trying to get to, and then the Red Sonja slipped through the cracks there, but it is on my list to get. So, but yeah, I've been meaning to.
And I believe the special features are on both, so no big deal if you don't have a region-free player.
Yeah, that's good. I love matte work even when it's bad.
This is horribly bad matte work, though. This is some of the worst I've ever seen. The guy doing it didn't give a shit.
It's a job. I'm just
Like, it's like, how can I try to make it look fake? Like, grass goes up and down. I'm gonna make it go sideways. I'm not kidding. That's what it looks like. And then, like, the skull, it looks like something right out of a cartoon. Oh, it is in the 4K, Tyrell. It stands out like a sore thumb.
Well, that reminded me. What one of the questions that was asked to Bill Lustig about, so it sort of implies with this is because some people complain that the movies, is that how it's supposed to look in 4K? Is that the way it's supposed to be? Is these movies not supposed to look a little gringier and fuzzier in certain areas? So, would you think that would benefit a little bit in Red Sonja there, with some of the matte stuff?
No, I'd rather have the better resolution and see all the warts and all than have it be a smudgy mess.
That's true. That's true.
Oh yeah, I mean, it wouldn't stand out as much in standard def, but in 4K it stands out pretty bad because you can actually see the paint strokes going the wrong way, and you can tell it's painted. But yeah,
we're gonna put a little happy tree right here.
Yeah, it's a happy little tree.
But yeah, I definitely need to check that out. That is one that's been it's been a long time for a watch. I didn't watch. I watched Conan not too long ago, the original with Arnold, and I watched the one with.
Yeah, this is one of the better sword and sorcery of the time. It does feel like it's a little truncated. Like there's a few things missing from it, though. You're not missing anything story wise, though.
Right.
But it just sometimes it feels like Arnold just keeps disappearing, and you don't know why. But then he shows up. It's just like, so it really feels like they really had a limited time to work with.
Yeah. With him. Is he available right now? Bring him in.
Which is funny because they had to push back Terminator so he could film Conan the Destroyer, and then I think he went straight from Terminator into filming this.
Oh.
So I don't know. I can't remember what he had right after. What would it 86 been? Was that Red Heat or Commando or?
Let's see. Let's look it up real quick.
Because this came out in 85. And both Conan the Destroyer and Terminator came out in 84. Didn't he have another movie in 85 as well? I want to say like Red Heat or something like that came out.
Raw Deal was in 86.
Or Raw Deal. Okay.
So, and Commando was in 85.
Okay, so he probably went straight from this into Commando then, probably. It might be my bet.
Yeah.
If not, they're vice versa, one or the other.
One of them too.
So yeah, this was at the period where he was busy as fuck. So yeah.
Yeah. It looks like everybody's saying Commando, so yeah. So that's probably Commando then. Yeah.
I don't know which one he filmed first is what I'm trying to say. He may have been filming Commando at the same time as this, and they literally filmed all his shit at the beginning of the end too. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I get you.
Because like I said, he kind of just pops in and out of the movie without any real explanation until near the end. When the last time he pops in, she's like, well, where did you go? Or something like that. And he's like, you said you didn't need a man's help. I didn't want to bother you with it. But he's been following her the whole time.
Yeah.
Because he does. He just keeps popping up right when they need him. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
he's gone. It's like, where the fuck is he? Where is he? Where's he at? No, there he is.
They needed him to move the story along, and we need him in this part because Brigitte can't handle this.
Well, and that's why I feel like there's some stuff missing from this because there's a lot of characters, but there's not a shit ton of character development.
Oh yeah.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, these characters are kind of pretty straightforward anyway. But I mean, the character who probably gets the most development outside of a bit of backstory for Sonja is probably Ernie Reyes Jr. character as the prince. Right? Like, outside of that, you have no idea who Caliban is until the end and his whole role in the thing. And he doesn't really do anything. Like, he's really more or less there to protect her. And then at the same time, it's like she doesn't really need the protection. So again, like I said, this movie managed to do what woke movies attempt to do now, but did it without being in your face and being obnoxious at the same time.
It always seems that they did it better back in the day anyways, didn't it?
The only thing I would say is it just feels like sometimes they don't have anything for Arnold to do.
Yeah, they probably had him and then they didn't realize what they need, you know.
Well, she goes and kicks everybody's ass before.
Yeah, exactly. She's kicking everybody. That's so why is Arnold there?
And really, yeah, he's there to rescue her when she's kind of just trapped and shit like that, more or less, or when he fights the monster and all that. Like, other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
Hank VP, I believe for the Blu-ray you do. The 4K is region free.
Yeah, 4K
obviously.
are
So
pretty much all.
usually,
I don't think I've ran into any problems.
Somebody
with
had
that.
told me one or two titles they had come across, but I can't remember the exact titles. So
Might
all
be
right, so that's my
early
first
4K.
pick.
That's not bad.
That one's funny. Is we have something in common for our second pick, but I have a story that leads into how I watched it.
Oh, interesting.
This is it's part of my review for the Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power.
Oh, nice. And Brian Barth asked me earlier if I have seen it. No, I have not seen it, and I don't plan on watching it. To be honest with you,
What's
just
that?
Don't Rings of Power.
Oh. Okay, well, yeah, on that note,
it.
because it started last Thursday night or whatever. It dropped at 9:00 my time.
Yeah.
So I started watching it. I watched it for about 25 minutes. And I didn't have the bad experience that everybody else did.
Oh, really?
Because I shut it off about 25 minutes in and I turned on another movie.
You
And that movie turned out to be, I don't know if you want to show it at the same time.
want to do it right now?
Might as well. That's what you said in the middle.
Yeah, well,
I segued for you.
I didn't do my first pick, though.
Oh, yeah, you got to do your first pick. That's right. Never mind. Do your first pick.
I mean, we can do this now if you want. It could be my first pick.
No, I was stupid. I was thinking, duh. You're right. I'm an idiot. You got another pick first.
It's all right. I mean, my first pick will breeze by pretty quick because I needed a third pick real quick, and
we're teasing them. We're teasing them.
We're teasing you all. We're
some people already know what it is, but
yes.
Don't spoil it for anybody else in the chat if you know the answer, because yeah.
Well, I mean, at least you watched it.
You watched it naked? Is that better?
Galadriel. Oh, Galadriel.
Okay, we'll do this one more time.
Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy.
You actually got to stick up for
it. Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy.
I got to redo that anyway.
Yeah, I still need you to give that to me. So speaking of which, sub the runner, guys. There you guys go.
Yeah, you'll have to send me your email so I can mail it off to you.
Oh, yeah.
But all right, so what's your first pick? I'm so sorry about that.
Well, that's all right, man, because we'll probably breeze past this one real quick. Ain't much really to talk about. But I have the Kickboxer remake, Vengeance.
Oh, it's a remake?
Well, yes, it's a remake. Van Damme plays Durand, the guy that teaches him how to kickbox. Yeah, with Batista as Tong Po, and Gina Carano is in it, and what's his name? George St. Pierre.
How is it?
If you're going into it looking for acting, no, not at all. It's really bad acting, because everybody that's in it are actual fighters. And like the guy Alan Musso or whatever his name, who plays the Jean-Claude Van Damme character, he's a stuntman, and this is like his first movie as an actual actor. He did a lot of stunts for the Marvel people. The fights are great. It's got some boobs. That's a plus. Van Damme is actually pretty good in it. I do like how they changed some of it because, in the original Kickboxer, his brother just breaks his back. Tong Po breaks his brother's back, and then that's what leads him to train. In this, no, Tong Po fucking just kills his brother. Just straight up murders him in the ring, which I did like that because it leads a little more, like this is why he's doing it, and it gets brutal with him and Tong Po at the end in the final match. But the acting is crap. The story is, it's enough difference to warrant where it's like, okay, I can see where they went in this. But yeah, and Gina Carano, she's only in it for a little bit. She's the fight promoter that sets up the fight between his brother and Tong Po. And then from there, it just leads in. Goes into sort of the same story, but there's enough difference in it. It is like sort of like its separate universe, like an alternate reality of Kickboxer. So that's about it, really. That's all I have to say. Any thoughts? Has anybody seen this?
No, I'm not. I didn't even know it existed until now, and you had me semi-excited when you started mentioning the cast, and then
I
dashed
mean,
my hopes. I kind of have an idea of what it is just from your explanation, and that's
yeah,
sad.
I mean, it's sad because it could have been something special. And it's not like they're, I mean, because it does have a decent cast, and Batista does actually do a pretty good job as Tong Po. He is intimidating, and it's when he was a bit more muscular than he is now. So it does come off. And like I said, the fights are great because they're all UFC, actual martial arts trained MMA fighters, all of them. So the fights look beautiful. They're choreographed perfectly. It's the segments in between where they're acting that's where it leads, especially with the main guy, because like he was a stuntman, and so between him and his love interest, which she's not very good either, but she's got a great rack. So that's about it. And yeah, so I would say watch it if you want. It's got its moments. Like I said, the best part is I can give is the fights because the fights are amazing. So there you have that. That, like I said, in my first one, I kind of would breeze through it. So, and
Yeah.
Hill Marcus A and Martin Acosta Santana. I seen you guys come in. Yeah.
So as we were,
Go
I
back
quit
into the good
watching
stuff
it,
now. Yeah.
and I stopped it, and I watched a movie that we both watched this week.
Yes.
So now we can share it at the same time, I suppose.
Yes. Let me start my camera. Now this is the good stuff, guys.
This is the good stuff. Although this cover is horrible. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Space Truckers.
Space Trucker.
Which it was limited to how many copies did they do?
1,500.
1,500. I couldn't remember if it's 1,500 or 15,000.
1,500. This is a great movie. Yeah, the cover, it looks like it's like they just printed it.
That is the original poster I looked.
Yeah, it is the original
poster. That
poster,
is a bad late 90s fucking Photoshop looking.
As I said, it looks like, because I know it's the original poster, but it looks like they went online and just printed it off the line. You know what I mean?
No, that's the original poster. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Well, there's a history behind this movie, but yeah, your first reaction is you liked it, huh?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I'd seen it years ago, but this was like the first full watch in a long time, and I enjoyed the hell of it. Dennis Hopper was great. Debbie Mazar is hot. Stephen Dorff was all right. And for what's his name? Wells. Oh my gosh, I'm blinking on his name again.
Vernon Wells.
Vernon Wells, yes. I didn't know he was in it. I was surprised when it showed him, and he was actually in a pretty good chunk of the movie, which I'm surprised he doesn't get credit in the titles and stuff here. And then Charles Dance is freaking awesome in this as the half robot, half mad pirate scientist guy. So what's the little story behind it?
Well, of course, the director is Stuart Gordon.
Yes, I love him. He did Reanimator.
I was going to say, if you want to give a little history on who he is, because you're a little bit more familiar than I am with him.
Yes, Stuart Gordon is, if you've ever seen the Reanimator movies and From Beyond, a lot of like old school Lovecraft films and Castle Freak. He works a lot with Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. He's a horror director. He directed this, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and of course she's in this as well.
Yes, Barbara Crampton makes a quick appearance.
But yeah, it's a fun film, and as you mentioned, Vernon Wells is in the film, and not just in a small part either. He's in quite a bit of the film actually, which kind of stinks. They didn't have any, anything from him.
Yeah,
him in the movie itself. But yeah, as you see, he plays one of the space pirates. So yeah,
yeah, and he was really good too. He was like. That's why
actually he's the second in command or whatever.
Yeah, he was like right under him because I was like, because I didn't see his name or anything, and then when it got to the part, I was like, holy shit, that's the guy from Mad Max and
I know I missed it in the opening too.
And stuff. And I was like, why is his name not in the thing?
But yeah, so moving on from there, as far as Stuart Gordon goes, this is the most expensive production he'd ever been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
The budget for it was $25 million. Has quite a bit of CGI for that time. Not the best CGI, but a lot for that time, and it was expensive CGI. Great cast, as we were talking about. And they had a chance to get distribution in the US, and they fucked it up. One of the investors had a chance to sell the movie to Universal, and they turned it down.
It was ridiculous.
So it ended up going straight to HBO and Cinemax. So our recollection, Greg, sounded to be correct, as I remember, because I remember if I brought it up, I said, I think this was one of those HBO or Cinemax premieres back in the day. That's how I remember seeing it, and that was the case.
Me too, probably.
As Stuart pointed out, he's like, it premiered on HBO or whatever, all cropped off, $25 million movie dumped to television.
That's some bullshit, too. That's some bullshit.
And ironically, I believe this film was a huge inspiration on a very famous anime.
Yes, I believe I know which one you're talking about.
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop, yes, sir. It definitely has that feel to it. Yeah, I totally get that. I totally see it. You can feel it in every aspect of the film, and the film was great. I just, had fun with it. And they really don't make movies like that anymore. And some of the CGI and stuff was bad, but there were some scenes where it's like the special effects looked really good.
I'd say what was awesome was some of the physical effects, and not only that, some of the designs.
Yes.
Especially the costume and the set design. Sure, there was some cheesy effects. Sure, there was some wire work they could have spent a little bit more money on.
Yeah, you could see some of the
wires.
Yeah.
But again, this might be another situation like with Red Sonja, to where even though this isn't 4K, it's probably a fairly new scan.
Yeah,
to where the wires are sticking out. I think it's a scan from the inner positive, if I remember right. So it doesn't say on here, but I think I remember reading that somewhere, because I believe this is a new scan for this release.
Yeah, because usually, I mean, even though they don't give you a lot with these exclusives to shout, it's typically it's something new, like the scan or something is new. So.
Well, they don't say it's a new scan on here, so maybe not, but it was released overseas by can't remember if it was Umbrella, I think it was, released it overseas. So this is not so it may be the same scan as that. Regardless, there is a new interview with Barbara Crampton, though, that wasn't on their release.
Yes.
But carried over from their release is interview with Stuart Gordon, interview with a composer, interviews with the art director, and, of course, the trailer.
Yes.
And overall, I mean, a really enjoyable film. Like, that's the thing. Like, even it's very tongue-in-cheek. It knows what it is. It's set in its tone. The design is beautiful. Sure, it has some hokiness, but you know what about the hokiness is you can let it slide with the special effects because of the humor.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, the cast working together. Debbie Mazar is funny. Charles Dance is funny. Dennis Hopper is great.
Fucking amazing in this movie.
And he's such a badass in this movie, too.
You can tell he was loving this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny, because I guess he tried settling some lawsuit between him and Rip Torn by trying to get Rip Torn apart in the movie, but Rip told him to fuck off or some shit.
That sounds like Rip Torn.
So there was probably some money laundering involved in this movie. That's probably where some of the money went, I'm willing to bet. Because let's be real here, watching this movie, you're kind of scratching your head going, God, I kind of wonder where about 15 million of that went.
But it is a great movie, and you can tell, like you said, you could tell Dennis Hopper is having fun in this movie from when he throws that first punch in zero gravity, and the guy goes spinning, and you see the wires and stuff, and then him and George Wendt. It was just good.
That's where the movie. Yeah, I forgot even about George Wendt's cameo. Yeah, and that was weird. That's where that's funny about this movie, and the money that was spent is some of it was spent in just the wire working, probably because this is one of the few sci-fi movies where Stuart was like, you know what? I've never seen him tackle weightlessness, right? There's always usually something that they just write it up to whatever, like on Star Trek. He's like, but here I just wanted to play around with it because he goes, there's so much fun and things we could do with it. And he does. He uses it to its advantage as much as possible. whether it's for humor or even like during the love scene between Debbie and Steven, where it really kind of comes to play there. You know, there's just so much where he has fun with it, and you can tell he and everybody were having a lot of fun making this movie. And it's just sad it does not have the following it should have. Like, I feel like if it would have come out, it probably wouldn't have, it may not have been successful, even though it would have been right on the heels of Star Wars after the special edition. So it would have been perfectly timed.
Exactly, because if this would have been released in theaters, it definitely would have a huger. You probably would be getting a 4K like big shout, scream, arrow set of this if it had come out in theaters right now.
And that was my understanding, is that it did do okay overseas.
Yeah,
not like stupendous, but
it did decent work.
But as far as HBO films, it's been kind of forgotten.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean. Luckily, people like us caught it on TV, and we've kind of at least got it now. You know, we made enough of a cult following in that sort of way that we have the Blu-ray now, even though it's only 1,500, and it looks like it's not going to last much longer there because that was one of the popular ones. Yeah. But I enjoyed it. I mean, Debbie Mazar in her underwear from half the movie.
I noticed that. I'm just
like, you can't beat that.
Oh, there's some nip slips. There's some nip slips.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. Even though she's got 2 fucking bras on, there's some nip slips.
Yeah, there is. I mean,
and she's got underwear underneath her other underwear too. But still, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You got Debbie Mazar in her fucking underwear through half the fucking movie. Come on. Yeah. How can you turn that down?
And she's got that accent too, especially like the scene with her and Charles Dance when he's starting it up down there.
See, I gotta imagine that was probably the part that Dennis was trying to get for Rip. Would have had to have been Charles Dance, but Charles Dance is funny because they talk about him in the interviews, and he's like, he had so much fun making this movie.
Yeah,
he even turned to the Stuart, and I think it was Stuart who said, he goes, "I'm having such a good time making this movie. In fact, I think this is the best time I've ever had making a film. This is going to ruin my career, but it's the best time I've ever had making a movie."
You can tell he's having a blast too, because like you think of Charles Dance, you think of like Game of Thrones or even
Alien 3 and
Alien 3 or Golden. He's in Golden Child, right? He's the
bad guy in Golden Child too. I think,
yeah. You think of stuff like that, and then you see him as this half robot pirate guy with a mechanical schlong stuff, and it's just awesome. It works. Everything works. Like you said, you could forgo some of the hokiness and the bad special.
Well, it's almost like a live action cartoon, really.
Yes,
it really is. It is basically a Saturday morning cartoon. You've got the space truckers who are unionized and they're working for these. So I suppose we better give everybody the story. This is not to try and blow too much of the plot. But Charles Dance plays. Whoops, shit. He plays a character where he built these robots for this tyrannical guy, and I can't remember the guy who designed the robots, but they're awesome looking.
Yeah, the robots are like amazing. Like the people in the suit and the outfits, it looks awesome.
Yeah, what they are is actually models and dancers or whatever in the suit, and they're all women. Yeah. And
the
guy who designed this was a lot like Geiger, but I can't remember the guy's name, but he does a lot of even worse than Geiger as far as the psychosexual metal meets, sex kind of thing.
Was it Simon Lamont? Was that the guy?
And maybe that's who it is, but I mean the art is just like holy shit. And they show some of it in the making of it, and it's some really bitchin' shit. And I'm like, how have I not seen this before? But he designed these things, and so they're kind of like a cross between the alien meets a gun.
Right. It's perfect.
With the shape of a woman. And it's like, and they look amazing the way they move and the way they work. And so anyway, they made these monsters, and his whole thing is he wants to get them to Earth to conquer Earth. And again, I don't want to tell too much without giving away too much of the plot, because you kind of figure it out anyway. But so then we jump ahead. We don't know how much time, but we jump ahead to the space truckers and their situation. And basically, Dennis Hopper is moving square pigs.
And I love those, like the design of all those pigs in that cage.
And it was funny because Stuart was talking about when he had one of the screenings or something like that. A pig farmer come up to him afterwards, and he goes, "That was the best looking fake pig I've ever seen in my life." And they are pretty neat looking, and they're kind of hilarious. The whole idea of square pigs. And then of course
he's getting a hot dog.
Yeah, and of course he's like a week late, so he gets fired from his run by George Wendt. And in return, Stephen Dorff, who's a new young buck on the scene, gets his job in his place. But that doesn't matter for very long because once a fight breaks out, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And they have to get out of there. So he takes a independent job that's going to Earth because he promises Debbie Mazur that he'll take her to Earth so she can see her mom. And from there, this is kind of how the plot goes along. But you come to learn that they think they're hauling sex dolls.
Yeah. There's a rated R movie in there somewhere.
They're probably, well, I don't know. Stuart kind of knew what he was doing. I mean, it was just on that cusp of, like I said, if this would have come out in theaters in the wake of the Star Wars Special Edition, I think it would have done very well. In fact, it would have come out like the same year as Episode 1.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, Stewart's a pretty smart man. He knew what he was doing in movies and stuff. So yeah, he probably had it right on the cusp of where he needed to go. It
uses its PG-13 all the way.
Yes, it uses it big time,
and it's very clever with everything it does do. But so yeah, so you can guess at this point, they're not really hauling sex dolls. They're hauling these fucking monster machines. And there's God knows how many of them. I can't even remember now. But they come to find out, and here's the interesting part, they activate in double numbers. So first they have to deal with one of them coming out. Then they got to deal with 2 of them. Then they got to deal with 4 of them. Then they got to deal with 8 of them. Now you see where the pattern's going here. And it just keeps amping up and amping up and amping up. And as much as the film feels very formulaic and you kind of know where the plot's going, there's still a few twists here and there that they have fun with. But I agree with you. It was a fun time.
It was
I can't wait to watch it again. It's one of those definite kind of movies you get together with your buddies and either get high or you get drunk and you order a pizza and you watch it on a Friday night.
That's what I did. Movies. Well, I didn't get high, but I had a pizza and stuff and watched it.
Well, you drink some beer, get whatever your poison, you know what I mean. But
yeah, I know what you mean. But that's what I did. I enjoyed the hell of it. It was like, because like I said, I remember vaguely seeing it on cable late at night one night, and I've heard people talk about it through the years. And I'm a huge fan of Stuart Gordon in the Reanimator movies. And I was like, yeah, when they announced this, like, I'm buying this, and it was such a fun watch, and it was just. You could tell everybody in that movie just enjoyed the hell of it.
Poor George Wendt.
Yeah. Even George Wendt in that movie, even for what little time he's in it, he looks like he's having a blast.
He went out like the alien in Alien.
He goes up there and he's like, oh, okay.
Thank God.
Good.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen too. I was like, no. And they could have went graphic with it, right? And this is where the humor is, right? They do that scene. But if it was like, if you'd have went too far, and this is how I know Stuart knew what he was doing. Because normally Stuart would have went and you would have seen his intestines flying out and all that other shit. Yeah. You don't see any of the gross stuff. It's handled like a fucking cartoon for the most part.
Yeah, because even with the clothes and his head's just sticking out of the clothes.
Yeah. I'm just sitting there thinking, God, I wonder how long George Wendt had to sit in like a fucking thing with his head sticking out.
See, look, people, if you've not seen this and you want to get it, go to Shout Factory
before it's gone,
and get it. It is like $30, but this is a good $30 that you can spend on it. It's
is it really that much? I didn't think it was that much. I thought it was only
29 something.
Is it really? Let me look.
Or was it 26.30?
I thought it was only the 21. I could be wrong.
I know I spent like $20 something on it. Almost $30.
Where'd it go? Sure, it was on the last page, and now that I went to the main page. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, you're right. $26.98. Yeah.
Yeah.
So unless I think you got to buy, what is it, like $50
bucks?
Yeah, I think 50. If you spend 50. So I think that's what I did. I pre-ordered something, and I ordered that along with it, because initially, when I got it, I think, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is one of the ones that is worth to buy, because other than you could import the Umbrella or imprint one, whatever version you said it was, but you may never get this.
I'm not sure if that's even in print ananymore, because somebody was saying it was expensive on eBay, and that's probably why.
Yeah, Random Brad was looking it up on eBay. Said it was not very good looking out there.
And I think it's been out of print for a couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. So, It's good. It is totally worth it. I enjoyed this movie so much. It was a fun, and yes, if you're a fan of Cowboy Bebop, you would probably enjoy this movie because you can tell this movie probably helped inspire that a lot.
A lot of
So,
cyberpunk elements to it.
mhm. And like the like a family coming together on a ship. That's
Oh, I love the space pirates.
dude, that scene though when the ship shows up in the black rock out in space, that's a pretty good scene.
Oh, Black
When the
Rock!
lights come, yeah, Black Rock. It's like, where's the comets at?
You'll love it, Steven. I think you'll love it.
Yeah, you'll love the hell out of this movie.
I know. Well, that's why I said, Steven, if you have the money, I'd suggest buying enough stuff to where you get the free shipping. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I did, which will be my last pick.
Interesting, because I have another Shout Factory for my last pick too.
Me too.
But I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about this? Because I mean, outside of the cover, that's my only complaint. They could have come up with something better than that.
I wish they would have.
Commission something for fuck's sake.
I know it's the original cover art, but
unless
come on,
maybe because they'd have to have people sign off. Maybe I don't know, because this is a bad poster.
Yeah, but at least you got this.
So 90s fucking Photoshop.
It is, but at least you got that. If I could get,
well, and that's what I was hoping was for a reverse, because I saw this on the cover. I'm like, oh, I hope there's something on the reverse.
So
and
at least
I'm like, oh, not something you can flip it with anyway.
No, but I mean, you could if you wanted to. It might look a little better, but it's still, really. Yeah.
Yeah, no. That is not selling the movie very well, though.
That's the problem with this poor movie, is because I don't think people have given this movie a chance, because, like you said, it was dumped on cable instead of the theaters, and the poster art does not make it look like, I want that. So it is worth it. It is totally worth it.
Yeah, but it's a crime of the era, Dan Blackroyd. Like, it screams when it came out. That's for sure, because it came out in 97.
Yeah, I was gonna say what
97. That's why I said, because I knew it would have been perfect to come out up against the Star Wars special editions, because that's the year that came out. So
yeah,
it's a sad
cover, but yeah,
poster art, and that really does look like a 2-year-old put it together with Photoshop.
It does. Actually, who put it together on this? It says package designer Mindy Kang. So Mindy.
Well, that
Kang
just means she put it together, but no,
she put it together, but she didn't have much to work with.
Yeah, that was the original poster, and that's what I'm saying. I wish they would have commissioned some art for it, and maybe they couldn't, because they couldn't get like Dennis Hopper's people to sign off or something on it. But
yeah, now that you say Dan Blackroyd, it does look like the posters for
I
Sphere.
think that's what they were trying to emulate.
This is a better movie than that. So.
Well, basically what I was saying, and that's what Stuart was getting at, is the problem with this movie was the company behind it was some little company. They believed in the movie, but to its detriment, right? Like, they were so convinced that they were going to be able to have this huge hit with this movie, and they were going to do it all on their own. And Stuart tried to convince them that, no, we need Universal to get behind this movie. You don't understand. We're never going to make $25 million back if you don't. Yeah. Right. Like, he's trying to tell them, not only will they buy the movie back and will be in the black, they'll put another 25 million or more into just advertising it. Right. Mm-hmm. That's what he was trying to express to him, but he couldn't get that out. So I don't even know what they ended up selling it to HBO for. I highly doubt HBO gave him 25 million.
Yeah, I would bet they undercut him so badly.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh,
there's
man,
no fucking way.
I was so bad. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just from what I recall from back in the day, the average of what they would pay for a movie, I mean, they would sometimes haggle and do some negotiating, especially if they knew a movie was potentially going to be bigger. But these deals were always made before the movies came out.
Right.
So if you guys didn't know that, so they would get lucky once in a while. But it was usually between $3 to $7 million is what they usually pay for these television rights. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to these movies, if they were a negative pickup like this, I don't know if they would have paid for that all. Now, if they produced it themselves from the front, that'd have been a different story. But see, that's why I don't think this is, and I'm not so sure it premiered on HBO. I think he was thinking Cinemax through HBO, because I only had Cinemax where I lived. And I remember this movie being, because they would premiere what they would call original premieres on Friday nights on Cinemax.
Yeah, like when you remember things
And
like
that's what I was
Miracle
talking about,
Beach, it
Miracle
cost me
Beach.
money.
And this was one of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty fucking positive of that. So he
Oh,
may
yeah.
say HBO, and that's probably just because that's who signed the fucking check. But yeah, it was Cinemax, which is just HBO's subsidiary. But yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I always feel bad for Stuart Gordon because Stuart Gordon always seemed like he was like
This could have been
director.
his mainstream movie.
Exactly. He seemed like he was this director always on the verge of like, this is it. He's going to be huge. He's going to be huge. And they kept kind of screwing the poor man over. And he
Because
kept,
you can tell he knows how to
Yeah.
tell and structure a story.
Yeah. And he's like, all you really is like, you watch this Space Truckers, you watch the first Reanimator movie, you watch From Beyond. From Beyond, I love that movie. You could tell the man had talent, and he knew how to tell a story, knew how to structure it, knew what the movie was and how to present it, and it just seemed like he was always being screwed over or something where he could never get to the, that next phase of the director's career.
Yeah, he's a very competent director. Again, there's some choices he made that I probably would have went the other direction. Maybe I would have, even now he was talking about like, oh, I would have went complete CGI with this and that and the other. And yeah, I can see where he's coming from. But there was some of the stuff that I would have spent the CGI on taking out the wire work instead of worrying about doing, say, like the Black Rocks in CGI or something like that. Like you could have got away with doing that practically.
Yeah.
It did technically go straight to video deleted scenes, but it was a premiere on Cinemax, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Runner, I don't know. He said he couldn't make it tonight, so we don't really know where he is.
He's just a bitch.
He's crying into his pillow.
I was hoping to get like R&B on here just so he could whine about it later.
Yeah, I know that would have been awesome. We get him again.
You guys do that to me on
Every
purpose.
time.
Every time.
Oh, Tom, one day
you'll. Runner.
Yeah, we do. He's a good guy. You'll have to watch From Beyond one day.
Yeah,
it's 10 pounds of crazy in a 5-pound bag. It is great. And Barbara Crampton is smoking hot in that movie.
Yeah.
So smoking hot. She's got that nice little like glasses librarian look, and then her descent into like full blown like BDSM out attire is just like, oh. Anyways.
What's Robert up to? Probably eating or something right now, Bryant. I don't know. It's like only 8:30 where he's at right now. 7:30.
He's good. He's out in the west. But yeah, there we go, guys. If we touch into it, check it out if you can get it before it goes out. And Tom, do you want to go with?
Blame Greg.
Yeah. Well, you can blame me. I'll take it because you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
No, I think most people enjoy it.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah. So, do you want to go for your last one, or you want me to go for my last one?
I did start. Do you want me to go?
I can go if you want me to.
That's fine. It's up to you, man.
I guess I mean that's good. Let's talk about what you got. Let's do you real quick.
All right. Well, I did see that new Elvis movie on HBO.
Yes.
So I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was too bad. It was probably Baz Luhrmann's best film. My only real complaint, outside of a few minor things, was the mixing of modern style kind of beats and music into some of it, but and a little bit of its chaotic editing style. But it wasn't horrible. I didn't hate it. I really didn't. I hate to say it, but it almost gives my next movie a little bit of competition.
Ooh.
For those who may not know what I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about the movie Elvis, but it's not the one that's on HBO Max right now. This is probably the second most famous Elvis movie. John Carpenter's Elvis, starring Kurt Russell, from 1970, what was it, 77? 78? 79, somewhere? 79. 2 years after Elvis died. It's roughly almost 3 hours long, about 2 hours and 45 minutes, rough, give or take. But yeah, John Carpenter's Elvis, Bryant. It was a TV film for ABC, I think it was.
It's a good one too. It is really good.
It's a bit tame, and the reason I bring it up here, or at least bring up the other Elvis outside of the obvious reasons, is how they're almost kind of counterparts to each other. Because like a lot of the stuff that this version covers is not really covered in Baz Luhrmann's version, but Baz Luhrmann's version covers a lot of shit that this one ignores.
Right.
And not only that, Tom Parker is almost non-existent in this movie, and probably because he threatened to sue them if they put him in any kind of negative light or something, I'd imagine.
I would imagine, yeah, especially like right after Elvis, a couple years after his death.
Because I think this is roughly about the time they uncovered and figured out a lot of who he really was. Because that's the part that's way different about Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, is it's being told by Colonel Tom Parker. And not only that, it's probably the only film we've actually gotten a look into that aspect. And I'll tell you, I mean, I don't love Tom Hanks. I don't hate him. But this performance that Tom Hanks gave is probably the best performance he's ever given since Forrest Gump.
Because I've heard mixed bag on his performance in that.
And the reason I say that is because this is the first time they've ever portrayed Colonel Tom as he really is. Because
did they go that way? Because I know he screwed him and even Elvis's dad and him screwed Elvis a lot. So
yeah, that's what a big part of this movie was. No, actually, I thought he did a really good job. I'm sure you kind of hear a tinge of Tom Hanks' voice, but no, he does a really good job because if you go and listen to some interviews with Colonel Tom Hanks did a really good job of becoming Colonel Tom Parker. Like it is almost uncanny in some bits, especially when he's just talking. Because, like, a great example is in this Elvis movie here, you've got Michael Goff, I think it is, playing him.
Mm-hmm.
Or
playing Elvis?
Playing Tom Parker.
Oh, Tom, in the Kurt Russell one.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, while you're looking for that, here's a nice little trivia for you, Tom Hanks. That Kurt Russell does the voice of Elvis in Forrest Gump.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Pat Hingle, I'm sorry, not Michael Goff was the other. He played Alfred.
From Batman.
Pat Hingle, who played Commissioner Gordon, actually plays. Yes. And he plays him like a southern good old boy, just like they usually portray him in these movies.
Yeah,
No, the true matter of it is he was undocumented illegal alien from, I believe it was either Hungary or I can't remember what country, but they believe Denmark or Switzerland. Yeah, and he was suspected for murder. Yeah, they get into a lot of this shit in the movie. And even though it's from his point of view and he's telling the story, the thing is even through his the way he's trying to portray the film, you can still see how he used Elvis, right? Like it all lays it out. And it is probably one of the more accurate Elvis films out there. I hate to say it, even with some of the finagling that is done in the film, it is probably one of the closer to being accurate films. Because they don't really shy away from telling the truth about, the age gap between him and Priscilla. They don't really jump on it too much, but I mean, they still don't shy away from it. The only thing I would have a complaint about is like some of the woke shit that creeps in. And what I mean by
noticed some of that in the trailer.
Well, it's a lot of this leaning on the idea that he's taking all his inspiration in music from black people, when it's like, you're ignoring the fact that he took, rhythm and blues and mixed it with rockabilly. Right. That's what he did. That was the difference. And they kind of come up with some... He was
inspired by it.
Exactly. And of course the gospel as well. And they do have all that in there, but they really lean into that part of it. Like they even have him having some questionable friendship with B.B. King that nobody can really verify was that close, which is weird because he was like closer to Little Richard, which is like, why didn't they just have it be Little Richard? Because Little Richard's in the movie.
Yeah.
But like, here's my example of how those scenes kind of lean into the woke. Like you have them sitting there and he's like, oh man, I like that Tutti Frutti song. He's Little Richard, he's singing as a good song. He's like, yeah, but you got to understand, Elvis, you could record that one song and make more money on that one song than Richard could make in his entire life. So there's a lot of shit like that in there. Right. But I'm like, I guarantee you they never really had those conversations. Maybe, maybe not. But like here's the other thing is like, okay, if you really want Elvis to be portrayed as somebody who was into civil rights as much as he was, then get the people in there that he was talking to for real. Yeah, right? Because he was hanging out with... he was hanging out with like Muhammad Ali, and I think he talked to like Martin Luther King and some other people and stuff like that. Like he was getting involved in this stuff, and just kind of the way they kind of convolute and mix it in. Is it as much bullshit as probably Bohemian Rhapsody? No, but sadly, Bohemian Rhapsody is still a better film.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that film is probably Baz Luhrmann's best film. Now, this film, as far as John Carpenter goes, it's not his best film, but it's not his worst film by far.
Yeah. I always
It's a
enjoyed
very
it.
well done film. It does have a pace problem. It could
Yeah.
use a good trimming, and it feels like it's missing so much of Elvis's life. Like it jumps through a lot of it. It actually ends 10 years before he dies. So it's kind of...
Maybe they didn't want to go that far to the...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they ignore Tom Parker almost as much as they can. Right? And I think the reason for that is they didn't really want to lie about him, but at the same time, Tom probably threatened to sue them if he did anything that made him look negative.
I get you. And did you ever see that other Elvis TV movie? Aired in...
I kind of vaguely remember it. It was like in the 90s, wasn't
John Rhys, someone... Or
yeah,
John
I remember
Reese
the
or
one.
something like
That one was okay from my recollection, and
it
then they
wasn't too
also...
bad.
Was that actually a movie, or was that that series that only ended up getting a season?
It was like
before
a
it got
2-part.
canceled?
It was like a 2-part movie, like first half of his life to up to the and it
Okay,
ends
so
with
then there was another thing too that was then they had the son one about the son that was not just about Elvis, that was about the record company that signed him, and that was a newer one. But they also had one in the 90s that was an actual series for a season. And it ended up getting canceled, and it was covering Elvis's life, but each season was going to cover a different era of his life. I think it was the plan, and they only got through the first season before it got canceled because I think it was too expensive to continue on with or whatever, especially for the music rights and all that shit. I think it was. I can't remember when it came out, but I know the one you're talking about too. But yeah, I mean, it's not like we haven't had an overabundance of Elvis films.
and
yeah, I
John
love
Rice
Bubba Hotep. Yeah, and I do love Bubba Hotep, but I wouldn't consider that a quote unquote Elvis.
He's still the king, baby.
Not a biopic anyway. I think that at this point, though, between the John Carpenter film and the Baz Luhrmann film, until Tarantino decides to make a Elvis film, I think this is the best we're gonna get.
I have to see, because I always...
And I'm not like a super Elvis fan or anything. Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Beatles person, so yeah.
I was always more of an Elvis guy. I was never really... I mean, it's not that I didn't like the Beatles. I do, but I was more of an Elvis guy because that was what was played here all the time. So, but yeah, I always enjoyed the Kurt Russell one. That movie, that was always my favorite Elvis movie. About his life, and I plan on watching the Baz Luhrmann one this weekend. My dad's been dying to see it, so I figured we'll watch it.
Hopefully he'll like it. He might cringe a little bit with some of the music transitions, but yeah.
Yeah, because he's been watching, like, I'll see clips of it on the YouTube here where he's singing, and I really want to see this movie. And I'm like, well, yeah, those are probably good, but we'll see how it goes when you watch the whole movie.
Look-wise, he's a bit too pretty. I can't remember the kid's name who plays him, but
oh yeah,
he's got the voice down pat. Like, the voice is spot on. Now, the singing, I'm sure that's just Elvis's tracks, but it melds perfectly because the kid sounds just like him. Now, they do overdo the makeup early on, but they do make a point of that. Like, even Colonel Tom says, like, he got makeup like a girl or something like that, like, or more makeup than a girl he's got on or something like that.
Yeah, they try to put it in.
And they fudge a lot of time and era and certain people's relationships. And Austin Butler, thank you. He did a pretty good job. I wouldn't be surprised if he don't get nominated. I don't know if he deserves to win. In fact, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Tom Hanks either way. I don't hate him, but I also don't adore him. But at this point, I would say that this is the role that, if he gets another Oscar nomination for it and he wins it, like Best Supporting Actor or whatever, he's completely earned it this time. Completely earned it in my opinion. Because this is the one time he really feels like he dove into the role. Because I saw him in that Mr. Rogers movie. I was like, yeah, it's Tom Hanks. Yeah. So I'm in, and I didn't like that movie as much. I did like the Saving Mr. Banks movie, the one about Mary Poppins.
Oh yeah.
But you have the same problem there. It's like, that's not Disney, that's Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, the last time he actually lost himself in a role would have been Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that was probably about the only time where he doesn't seem like Tom Hanks.
Or he really just lost himself in the role. And it's the same thing here. He is just losing himself in this role. And I'm sure maybe the makeup helped and all that kind of stuff. But even if you're not the biggest Tom Hanks fan, he is one of the highlights of the film, I will say. The Austin kid is really good. The supporting cast is decent. I can't really think of any real standouts offhand, but yeah, it's not nearly as woke as it could have been. The production design is beautiful. It's shot beautifully by Boz. The editing is a bit chaotic. The story structure is a bit chaotic. John Carpenter's, on the other hand, is very straightforward for the most part. Very by the numbers TV movie biopic, so remember that.
Yeah.
And again, my issue with this was, at this point, it's tough for me to watch this and not see and hear Kurt Russell. That's my problem.
And
Although he does do a pretty good job with the voice, there's just some times where it just starts delving into Kurt Russell territory.
And he's played Elvis 3 times. So
that's true. And as far as special features, you actually get an archival featurette, which is kind of neat. And then you also get rare clips from American Bandstand, because this was actually produced by Dick Clark, so they threw those in there for an extra. And you also get an audit commentary. I can't remember who all's on it, but it's Ronnie McDowell is one of the people. Ronnie McDowell. Not Roddy. Ronnie is an N. And Ronnie McDowell is famous because he has done the voice for Elvis more times than anybody. So there you go.
That's pretty cool. I don't think out of all my John Carpenter films, I don't think I have that one yet. So I'm gonna have to get that one before it
is the most non-John Carpenter film.
Because I've seen it a bunch of times, to be honest with you, and I remember seeing it on TV and stuff. And my dad, like I said, was a huge Elvis fan. So yeah, this one I really need to add to the collection. So I need to get on that, and it's not too expensive right now on Shout.
Yeah, and I agree with Dan. Castaway was very impressive, but it's still Tom Hanks just playing a typical Tom Hanks role. Like in this case, this is him. Like this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is the most accurate Colonel Tom Parker has ever been portrayed.
Right.
So, and he is pretty much treated like the villain, and even talks about being the villain in the story, and he's not even aware of being the villain.
Well, that's good, because like you said, a lot of times they never really portrayed him as the true villain he was. Because he
is.
He screwed Elvis a lot, and even Elvis's dad, which was in on that a little bit. So,
well, and this is kind of true. You could kind of look at it from a situation that it was more so Colonel knew how to manipulate Elvis and his dad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that was the thing, is he scared Colonel Tom scared Elvis's dad into not letting Elvis fire him.
That makes sense.
And some other things. Because he's like, okay, you can fire me, but you owe me this much money. Which, of course, if they just took it to court, everything about Tom would have come out in the open sooner.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But being that,
they were scared
Elvis's dad was very uneducated.
Mm-hmm.
And had no idea what to do. And maybe if Elvis's mom was still alive, she would have made them do it. But that was, losing Elvis's mom was like his only real protection at that point, kind of. And it's not really portrayed that way, but just if you know his life, like that was the only person, like you're right, that was not out to screw him over.
Yeah, that was like that's all right, Momo.
Kurt Russell is in fact Kurt Russell, confirmed.
Yes, confirmed.
Well, that's all right, Mama.
That's all right by me. But yes, I will definitely let you know what I think about the Baz Luhrmann's Elvis after this weekend. And I really, really need to add that to my collection, because now not only do you have that, Runner has it too. And I can't let that slide. Because I have a lot of John Carpenter stuff, except that one.
Brian, if Tom Parker would have been found out then, he would have probably been put in prison. And then whatever money he did have left probably would have been turned over to Elvis. And then after he served a term, he probably would have been deported back to wherever the fuck he came from, I'd imagine. Especially at that time.
If only it would have happened.
And Elvis found out a couple of years later, and that's one of the reasons he fired him. But they portray that in the movie differently than it happened in real life. Like, he actually fires him on stage in the movie. That's not how it happened. It's similar to that, but what happened in real life was Elvis was very fond of this one waiter that worked at the Hilton, and his wife was dying of cancer, and Elvis found out that they had fired him for whatever reason. And so he went to the management and tried to have him unfired to no avail. So he felt like Tom had let him down, and then he had said something publicly about it on stage, and the recording's out there. And after the show, Tom confronted him about it, and that's when Elvis blew up on him. Confronted him about everything, because he had found out and didn't say anything to that point about, and it's kind of portrayed that way in the movie, but it's a little different. It's kind of mixed around, but like, yeah, at that point, then he fired him, but then Tom turned around and scared Elvis's dad into hiring him back.
Figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, runner, fuck your Best Buy. Glad to see you there. Yeah.
Fuck your Best Buy.
Fuck your Best Buy. But that is a good pickup, Tom. And like I said, I will let you know what I thought about the movie, because I'm not a big fan of Baz Luhrmann, to be honest with you.
No,
that's my biggest thing.
That's the problem with this movie. As soon as it moves away from being a Baz Luhrmann movie, it's great.
Yeah.
The moment Baz Luhrmannisms start creeping in, that's when the movie kind of distracts you.
Yeah, because I'm not a huge fan of his over dramatic, melodramatic, whatever style.
But on the other side of it, it could have used some of that in this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had to watch one again, I hate to say it, I'd probably rather watch the new one.
Well, that's high praise.
Yeah.
That is high
and
praise.
it's not that I hated this film, it's just so slow moving. And it just feels like it's wasting so much more time than it's actually using. And it falls into too many of those television movie tropes.
I was going to say, you think maybe so many people, such as myself, look back on it so fondly because it didn't air all in one night, all in 3 hours. It aired like multiple nights. So maybe we didn't, feel that drag out a part of the film, because we had the commercials and a couple nights and everything.
Well, yeah, and plus we're used to movies moving a lot slower then, and I do remember liking it back then. It just didn't age as well. It's still good. It still holds up. Don't get me wrong.
I agree with you on that. So. Yeah, Runner, you missed Robert My Burnett. He just left like 2 minutes ago. You're going to be so pissed.
He's
when you rewatch
rewinding
now.
It's like, you fuckers.
Okay. Oh, but yeah, I'm gonna have to give that a rewatch too. I really need to. Okay, so I guess we'll move on to my final pick of the night.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this was another one of those Shout Factory, Scream Factory 1500 releases. And I saw this and I had to get this, and I gotta say I enjoyed these two movies, Strip to Kill and Final Judgment with Brad Dourif there.
I didn't get that one.
I have you ever seen Final Judgment with Brad Dourif?
No,
I know you're a huge fan.
I am, but I thought about it, but the price, I was just like,
I agree with you, but I'm kind of glad I bought it because I really enjoyed these two movies. The Brad Dourif one is definitely the better movie. Final Judgment. He's a pistol packing priest, and it's just pretty good. It's a pretty fun movie. It's much more serious.
Now I might have to get it.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with Strip to Kill here.
That one I remember the video cover for, but I don't think I've ever seen the movie.
The movie is essentially, I don't know, let's see if is that the video cover. I
remember seeing that all the time.
Okay, so it's a Roger Corman produced movie. It's cheesy as hell. It's very. I mean, as soon as the movie starts, you've already figured it out because it's a murder mystery. So a stripper's been murdered, and a woman cop goes undercover into the strip club as a stripper to figure out who is killing these strippers.
This actually sounds very familiar.
Yeah. And
maybe I have seen it on like Cinemax, but anyway,
Yeah, you might have. It's definitely one of those movies. Norman Fell from Three's Company, Mr. Roper, he runs the strip club. And the movie is essentially, this is the movie. Open up, strip scene, boobs. Next, introduce the characters, strip scene. Go to a couple more characters, get the policewoman on stage, strip scene. Go from there, move the mystery a little along, strip scene, and then we figure out the killer and strip scene, and then into the movie. So that's the sin of the movie. So if you're looking for lots of boobs, isn't in there, but it's funny. It has this moment. Greg Evigan is the female chick woman's partner. He's from BJ and the Bear and My Two Dads, which was kind of weird because I remember him from My Two Dads and that like bubbly sitcom thing, and to see him in this type of movie was it was kind of weird. So he plays like the badass detective who's like, you know, there to help her and everything. So, and he actually tricks the woman cop into going in undercover because the police force actually didn't allow it. So he tricked her into doing it to figure out the case. But that's essentially the movie. I don't want to spoil anything to it, even though it is super predictable from the very beginning. Super predictable. But it was a fun watch. I had a fun time. It's a much more funner, lighter film than Final Judgment with Brad Dourif, which was by far the better movie. And Brad Dourif is a great performance in that movie. So he's this priest who has a bit of a shadowy past. He packs a 38. It also involves strippers. So it's about strippers. He goes to see this girl who's become a stripper, and her mom wants him to talk to her to give it up and everything. And so he can't convince her out of it, and she had just posed naked for an art picture. And so he leaves her apartment, and as soon as he leaves her apartment, the guy that picked, because I'm not going to spoil this because it tells you who the killer is right off the bat. The guy that painted the picture comes in and murders her with the wire to the back of the picture thing, and made with two crosses on the end. And so Isaac Hayes is in this movie too. So Isaac Hayes is pretty cool. The police think Brad Dourif did it. They think he's going around killing all these women because every time this guy paints a woman, he kills the woman. And then it just so happens Brad Dourif happens to be there because he's investigating it, because the first girl that he killed was actually Brad Dourif's daughter, because he had an affair before he became a priest. And so he's out for revenge, and he gets in with this stripper, and they kind of investigate the case together as this hooker and this stripper, and this priest who had this criminal record and everything. And it's with Isaac Hayes investigating, and it's a really good. I just really enjoyed that movie. It was a pretty strong flick. It was worth it. I would have liked just to add that by itself personally on a really nice Blu-ray. But there's that for you guys.
I may just have to pick that one up.
Yeah,
that might be one I throw in with a new pre-order if it's still available when that happens.
Yeah, so I got that in the Space Truckers, and because I'd never seen any of the Strip for to Kill or Final Judgment, and I figured, what the hell, I'll try them out, see what it is, because I don't buy too many of the 15, the limited releases from them. So I figured to jump on these, and I really enjoyed Final Judgment. I'm pretty sure it was like one of those straight to VHS type movies, but it's really well done. And Brad Dourif, he's going full force, because you typically wouldn't see him like this, because this is somebody, like, I would say they were looking for somebody in the vein of like Clint Eastwood. They're going in for somebody like Clint Eastwood in that. And he does a really good job. Yes, Brad Dourif is Chucky still. He still is. Yeah. But the one thing I did not like about it is that, like, the stripper that he gets hooked up with in this, that they investigate, the chick can't dance for crap, and the face she makes when she's stripping is like, please stop, you're ruining this for me. Please stop making that face. Because she does get naked. It does have boobs in that as well too. But like when she's dancing and stripping, and the face she makes is like, please stop. It's not working. But it's a good movie, and the first one it's really bad, cheesy, predictable, lots of boobs. Roger Corman. It's a Roger Corman movie. And then the second one is a much more darker, serious thriller that I really enjoyed. The second one, I really enjoyed Final Judgment, and it was fun to see Brad Dourif be a good guy, but also sort of a bad guy, even as a priest. So it was cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, you have to check that one out.
Yeah. But there you go. There's my 3 picks for tonight. Well, technically 4, even though the one is the thing.
Yeah, you're right. There's 2 in the one.
Yeah. And it's all on one disc, though. And only Strip to Kill has special features Final doesn't have any, which is sad because it is the better movie.
Mm. Well, sometimes you'll have that.
Yeah.
But pretty quick show tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. They didn't have too much. It's just us out, so. What do we got in the chat here real quick? Okay, he was in Dune and Alien Resurrection, and he was also in Lord of the Rings and oh my god, that Western. I like that. I just got it not too long ago. Deadwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yep. Exorcist 3.
Yeah. Yeah, between the Star Trek 4K, Real Genius 4K, the Spider-Man No Way Home Steelbook re-release, and the Shout Factory Fog Ultimate Edition, my September physical media budget was blown. I feel you there. Like September 27th has like one of the most amounts of releases I've seen in forever that's coming up, and like yeah, with all these releases.
Well, the Star Trek releases this week alone really killed me.
Exactly, and then like we talked about earlier, Paramount has a habit of not giving you the finish off the collection the way they started it to give you in the first place.
I would have paid an extra $20-$30 if in that ultimate deluxe edition of the first film they just happened to throw in 5 and 6 as well. Just to be nice to us who already bought the first fucking 4. And then the other insult is, okay, you got a 6 disc set now. Oh, goody for you. I don't need all four of the first 4 again. And then for me to turn around and buy the first 4 individual, or the first 3, or the 2, 3, and 4, at least in another individual packaging, so they at least match the other ones. Which I don't think is even going to happen unless they have a case inside of the big box set of the deluxe edition, which is stupid because the only reason I'm getting it, I don't care about the book and the swag. I just want that extra disc.
Right.
That's what's pissing me off is why isn't that in, which if what I heard is true also is going to piss me off. I heard the UK is getting that disc in with their standard edition.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like sitting thinking, if I'd have known that, I'd just fucking imported it. Fuck that.
Yeah, that is crazy. Paramount Pictures,
$100 I paid for this sumbitch already, or actually I think I've saved 15 on. I think it was like actually 85, but still.
It seems like every time Paramount does something good, they do something.
That's the most
2
I
times
paid
worse.
For one movie in a first run release that wasn't imported special edition kind of shit or out of print.
Yeah,
that's just nuts and insane to me.
I don't remember if Brad Dourif was in The Hills. I know he's in the Halloween remakes.
Yeah, see, I don't know about that one. He was in the Halloween,
yeah. And it sucks with this what they did with Star Trek. That is, it's just. It just boggles my mind, man, why Paramount keeps doing that. Sooner or later, this is going to start backfiring on them with the way they release
yes.
these. Yeah.
This is kind of what we were talking about earlier,
yeah. Yeah. Yes, Brian Barth, I have seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It was a long time ago, but I have seen it. Yes.
I have it.
You have
it's a great
it?
film. No, I have it. Yeah.
Oh, you have it.
I've seen it quite a few times.
Yeah, it's a great film. It's good.
Come on, Chief, put the ball in the basket.
From Aaron Johnson. What are your guys' thoughts on the Star Trek 4K? They should have had the option of having an Israel 4K where yes. It's sort of what we talked about, yeah.
And that's the thing I'm kind of tore on now is I really hate that my first 4, at least 2, 3, and 4, are stuck in a really shitty box set. I would really kind of like the individual cases now to go with how beautiful 5 and 6 look. And if I had gotten my number 1, I might have been talking about him tonight, but I did not get it yet. I got the other ones, but I did not get the first one yet. That's not going to get here till tomorrow. So hopefully next week I'll talk about Star Trek, the first film, and Star Trek 5 and 6. But yeah. So a dead giveaway for what I'm going to be probably talking about next week.
What do you got for us, Tom?
I actually got a lot this week, believe it or not. That's what I'm saying. Is beyond that even. There's more. So it's like,
I know there's so like this month and next month alone are just like the releases are just insane. I don't think I'm going to be able to get them all.
Yeah, I hear that.
But I think that's it. I hope we got inspired you guys to pick up any movies. If you saw anything you're interested in, check them out. And thank you all to everybody in the chat. Aaron Johnson, Tim Hayes, Juan Carlos Gonzalez Jr. He said he's going to be checking out the 4K4U after this show, so I hope you enjoy that as well. Brian Barth, Hank VP, Victor Fontaine, hey, Runner, yep, and Deleted Scenes, I think I said your name, Random Brad. If I missed your name, I apologize. Dan Blackroyd, I apologize, but thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you, Tom, for coming on. You got anything you need to plug before we go?
Not offhand. Just the regular stuff tomorrow. Mead might be a little later because I got a dentist appointment, but other than that, no, everything's that's pretty much it.
Cool. And thank you, Tyrell72 as well. And
might do some Mead radio, I guess. Who knows?
Oh, there you go. I should have probably mentioned it earlier on your show. I forgot to say, but yes, Monday I do have a new Physical Media Club episode I'm premiering with a pretty big physical media channel. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Monday at 7.
Awesome sauce.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Y'all come back now. You hear? Still that one from Gary.
How you doing? Bitches leave.